Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Gab and today I'm going to be answering some questions for you about the roles that I had during my time with the Walt Disney Company for my first college program. But first, I just wanted to say I won't be going on my second college program to Walt Disney World because Fall Advantage was canceled for 2020 due to COVID-19, so I won't be going. Unfortunately, I'm really sad about it, but I had a good cry.
Really talk about that.
And I'll just, whatever is meant to be will be, and hopefully one day I'll be able to come back as a cast member. Anyway, I posted on my Instagram and on the Facebook group for Fall Advantage and Fall 2020. And I got some questions that I would love to answer for you. The first place I will be answering questions is from my Instagram, which you can follow if you want to. I'll put the links down below. Yeah. Someone asked, how long is Mickey's tail in ratio to his left ear? And I actually looked it up just using a picture of Mickey. I'd say his tail is 3 times as long as his ear, if not 3.5 times as long as his left ear. Thank you. What was my longest and worst shift? My worst shift was definitely the day that I was assigned the position of lobby assist, which is when you have to organize the back of PhilharMagic, which is the wheelchair section. And I organized it before the show very well. Like, I filled every spot with a wheelchair and every spot with like a person who wasn't in a wheelchair. I did a really good job. And then when I got into the theater, saw that someone had thrown up in the wheelchair section, so I couldn't see like a couple of families just because they obviously didn't want to sit next to a vomit, and that was a really bad shift for me. And now on to the questions that were posted in the Facebook group. How did you get transferred to attractions? It might clear up a lot of questions just for me to say my whole like DCP Fall 2019 story. So I was accepted as a lifeguard. I was assigned the location Blizzard Beach, not knowing that Blizzard Beach was closing September 1st and I arrived on August 5th. By the time training was done and everything, I had only actually been lifeguarding without training for about a week until I got deployed somewhere else. They deployed me to Pecos at Magic Kingdom. However, it was actually the food stands around Pecos, so I was working in Frontierland and Adventureland, and I would work at Aloha Isle, mostly Sunshine Tree Terrace. I never really got to work at in Frontierland without training, so I was deployed to the quick service food and beverage. From there I got transferred to attractions because of a medical thing. I'm slightly allergic to pineapple, so the entire environment that I was in for quick service food and beverage was making me sick. I would get like hives and I would have a hard time breathing working there, so I went to the doctor and I basically got a note saying that I shouldn't be around places with fumes or like very strong smells, and also place where I'm in an environment where I'm allergic to. So I got moved from quick service food and beverage to attractions in Fantasyland West, and I was in the Philhar complex, so that's how I got moved to attractions. And I was in attractions for the majority of my time, even though I spent like a month as a lifeguard kind of a month in quick service food and beverage, and then the rest of my time was in attractions. Another question I got was, is it normal to change roles? I haven't heard too many stories about people changing roles like that weren't lifeguards, unless there was like a medical accommodation that needed to be accommodated. But that being said, the majority of CPs at Blizzard Beach and Typhoon Lagoon were moved, because when one water park shuts down, the part-timers and full-timers get like first pick of where they get to go, and so they all wanted to go to a water park or the resorts and be a lifeguard, and so CPs were kind of just like moved to wherever they were needed. I wouldn't say many people get moved because I have friends who have never moved, but that being said, like 2 water parks worth of college program kids were moved and changed roles. So someone also asked if I could talk about like the training to be a lifeguard or the day-to-day experiences being a lifeguard. Training for lifeguarding was not bad at all. You would basically just walk around the park, get to know the stands a little bit. You would walk around with your blue tube to signify that like you were in training. You would walk around and just go to the stands and kind of go over what water you're supposed to be watching when you're a lifeguard at that stand. So there's like a certain point to a certain point that you're supposed to be watching, and you have to always be watching it, scanning your water and stuff like that. And that was what training was like. And then at the end you have your CAPA, which is your knowledge and performance assessment, and it took like a day, I think, and you would just go over all the stands, tell the person who was assessing you what you're supposed to be watching when you're at the stand. And you would also make rescues. They would have lifeguards pretending like they couldn't swim and stuff like that, and you would just have to go like rescue them. You also learned a bunch of different ways to rescue people, and that's more of not like your park that would train you or your leaders or anything. That's Ellis, and Ellis training is an intensive 3-day training for lifeguards, which could be hard sometimes, but it's very rewarding, and I feel like I could save somebody's life. After your CAPA, you're basically a lifeguard, and then you just go in every day. You get your assignment, and it will tell you where you're supposed to be, and you would get your rotation, and then throughout the day you would move to like maybe 4 stands, and depending on if you're shallow or deep, that will tell you where you're supposed to go. I was a deep guard, but I got a lot of shallow shifts, so I would be on the creek a lot, in shallow water, at the bottoms of lots of slides and stuff like that. Additionally, you make rescues as a lifeguard. In the beginning you could be kind of like trigger happy, and you'd be blowing your whistle and like trying to like rescue everybody, even though they might be struggling for a second, but they might have just needed a moment. But sometimes people actually like needed rescuing. As to what lifeguarding is like in the fall, I wasn't necessarily a lifeguard for a very long time, so I don't know what it's like in the fall. I have friends who are lifeguards at resorts, and they said it was pretty chill. Like, it's a pool, so you're not really going in too many times unless you're getting vatted or yeah, getting assessed or something like that. Yeah, but I'm sure there's a lot of videos on what lifeguarding is like in the fall. If not, I could try and figure it out and ask my friends. I was asked about the cons of the attractions role, and I really loved attractions. I loved my location and all the people in it. I don't really have too much to say about that. You have your good days and bad days. Some guests are happier than others, and some guests are nicer than others. But it really depends on like the attraction you're working. Like, honestly, the weather. Like, some people will be like, it's raining and like I'm upset, it's hot, not having a good time, and you just kind of have to take it. You have your good days and your bad days. You have your busy days and your slow days, and sometimes busy days can be really fun because you're always moving and like it's fast paced, but also sometimes busy days can be like really tough on you, and you're like, I'm exhausted, I'm getting yelled at for something that isn't my fault necessarily. So yeah, that's what being in attractions is like, and you have your good days and bad days. Another question I had was which role I liked the most, which role I preferred. I honestly preferred attractions, even though like I said, you have your good days and bad days. The good days definitely outweigh the bad. I got to make so many magical moments. I got to meet so many guests from all over the world, and I loved it. I love interacting with them. Princess Fairy Tale Hall, my place. I love that with all my heart. It was my favorite place to work. I got to see people before they met the princesses and how excited they were, like little kids. I just really loved interacting with people, so attractions always has my heart, and Fantasyland will always have my heart, and I wish I could go back as soon as possible, but I'll be back soon enough, it's fine. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more of my videos, hit subscribe. I hope to be able to make more Disney content eventually, like when the parks open and when I see myself going back there. My heart goes out to anybody who has been affected by COVID-19 and anybody who is fall advantage. It's really just a crummy situation, and I'm hoping that I get to see you all back there when we're let back in and when we all get jobs there. Yeah, so thank you, and I'll see you later.